he's got this sack hanging off the back, and we're not really talking about that either. So.
More time spinning tires.
Hey guys, my name is Liam. You're watching Gone Jeepin'. I have two really special people with me today from the YouTube channel Days of Pain and Victory. Now, these guys are like salt of the earth people, and I can't talk about them for too long, so we've got some really cool cars to look at. And I'm actually going to pass the mic to these guys, and they're going to walk us through all of the OnX competition builds here at SEMA 2024. What do you guys think of this first one right behind you here?
Well, I mean, we recently drove an 84 Bronco all the way to Alaska, so we know what it's like to drive one of these, and they're pretty rad. So the short wheelbase, I like the stance on this thing. It's kind of got the trophy truck squat, you know, and it's got a power stroke in it. You can't go wrong with a diesel power plant. The other thing I love about this is he's really lengthened the front control arms, and the front truss is very beefy. Got anything to add?
No, this is one of my first 4x4s that I owned, and I love this. I love this starting point. The Bronco is a great starting point. It doesn't matter what year you have. I love me a Bronco.
So what's this next guy over here then?
All right, this is from Fab Rats. I love this channel. I've followed this entire build on YouTube. It's a Jeep Willys wagon. They pulled this thing home, and it was bone stock, and they put it on a truck chassis. I put a 6.2 LS in it. They've got it linked front and rear, and the protection on it, the armor, is what is so cool about this rig. He's integrated the rock sliders like right up against the body, and added a nice little flare where it goes into the fenders. Both the front and rear bumpers, he actually got to take parts from the original bumpers and reinforce them with a whole bunch of steel to make them just beefy, but it's got that stock appearance.
Yeah, factory appearance.
You know, and I looked at this Jeep earlier today, and I didn't notice any of that, which is perfect. That means he did such a good job of hiding the rock rails and the bumper protection. Now that you're saying it, that is not my new favorite part of this Jeep as well. Yeah.
He's a derby guy.
Derby guy bumpers. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got the inspiration from these bumpers from Demolition Derby. There's a class that is the stock appearing class, and that just means from 10 feet away it has to look stock. And so they do the filled bumpers a lot in demo derbies.
And Paul is a Demolition Derby guy and tough as nails. He recently was in a derby because his kids wanted to get back into it, and broke his arm and finished the derby with a broken arm.
That's nuts.
So yeah, this guy's got grit, and you can see it with his builds.
Awesome. Now, one of these things is prettier than the others, and that is behind us here. Robbie Layton's large Dodge van thing.
Bread truck.
It's a bread truck. It's a bread truck.
It's a bread truck. I know nothing about this build, but it looks awesome. It looks like there was no detail on it that was not custom. Full custom suspension, front and rear, custom frame, custom axles, custom everythh. Even the paint is amazing. All the airbrush work is amazing around the rivets and everything. The fake patina with the airbrushing is awesome. The winch integrated back, stuffed up against the front bumper supports. It is amazing. The interior is very basic, like the bread truck would have been when it rolled off the assembly line, and it's got just what look like airplane seats. And it is awesome. All the custom paint on the inside. It even looks like his dash is just a cell phone. It is a stripped down, bare bones, nothing. But there is a huge power plant in it, and it looks like it is ready to rock.
And speaking of attention to detail, he's even got a couple of loaves of bread in the back of the truck.
You know, I saw the loaves of bread, and I was like, oh, great, he's making lunch. It didn't even dawn on me that it's a bread truck. That's why there's bread in the truck. That makes so much more sense now. You know, and maybe he is going to make lunch with it. I would.
Dual purpose. I like it. And even with as pretty as this rig is, you can tell that during the OnX challenge, they wheeled it. I mean, it's got some bumps and bruises.
And there's a big one on the other side too.
Yeah.
But what about this guy here? What are we looking at now?
This started its life as a Mini Cooper, and the body got a little more mini, but the rest of it got a lot bigger.
How
And
much of it is Cooper?
I believe the door handle might still be Cooper.
yeah,
Maybe the front headlight buckets, but it looks like everything has been touched on this vehicle and customized, like every one of these vehicles, and it is awesome. Full frame.
it's basically like an Ultra 4 car with a little bit of Mini Cooper on it.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny to watch the OnX build. The very first episode, they got to take these rigs in stock form and go through various challenges off-road.
So wait, as a Mini Cooper?
As a Mini Cooper, yeah. They got to take...
Two-wheel drive turbo Mini Cooper.
Yeah, and part of the challenge was a tug of war. A Mini Cooper at Sand Hollow in a tug of war match, that does not work out very well. But I'm sure that he dominated in the final event. So I can't wait to go watch that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Move the radiator to the rear. It's pretty rad. And the trailing arms are pretty rad. And I love, like, trailing arms is a way that you can get a ton of travel because you're moving that shock point forward. And then the triangulation, so you can eliminate that panhard bar. It's a great way to set it up. This is a lot like how our trophy truck is set up.
Our trophy truck.
Yeah. I'm definitely a big fan of the Mini Cooper. I'm a big fan of little vehicles. Yeah, little vehicles with big suspension travel. And I mean, this just turned out really awesome. And the fact that they started stock and now they're this, obviously that's really cool. So we've got two more. Yeah. One of them is a Jeep. I'll take this for the first 2 seconds. This is a Jeep Liberty, which is a Jeep I know nothing about because it is not a Wrangler. So Jeep Liberties, typically you find them rusted out. You also find high school kids driving them. And I've been told that sometimes they're really reliable and other times they're not, and they're really bad in the snow. So that's what I know about Jeep Liberties. But this one, they've taken some liberty and made it a little bit more off-roady. What do you guys know about this thing?
Well, I believe this is from Mischief Maker, and they've got a pretty rad, I think, JK with the, and so they know how to.
The blue JK.
Yeah, they know how to build. One thing that's tricky about a Liberty is their unibody. So when it comes to the fab work, you've really got to be a great welder because you're welding thick metal to sheet metal, and you pretty much have to stiffen the whole frame, and it looks like they did that. They plated the entire unit body so they can add onto that with their links. Looks like they've got some very long control arms, triangulated 4-link in the rear. They definitely stretched it, and you have to do that to get those tires out of the firewall area.
Now that you mention it, the amount of stiffening of the unibody that they did becomes really obvious as you were talking about it. You can see the plates, you can see, and another example of the rock rails being integrated into the body. Actually, they did a really beautiful job of that.
Yeah, and you have to do that if you want to wheel one of these long term. Otherwise, the body will get trashed.
The doors won't open.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a 95 ZJ and had to do that same thing. I sleeved the whole unibody frame rails on it, did the long arm suspension and all that. And once you do that, they're actually great wheelers. My parents actually have a Liberty, and don't tell them this, but I want to do this to it.
Okay. We won't put this on the internet and they'll never find out.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, this last build over here is when things get a little bit weird, courtesy of the Bleepin' Jeep guys. Again, I'm terrible and didn't watch how they built these things, but a lot of what's happening here is obvious just by looking at it, because this is a Jaguar and it has a lot of non-Jaguar-y parts. It has exhaust coming through the hood. It's got a wrecker. I mean, what is the deal with this thing? Oh yeah, and just a monster Cummins under the hood. So this thing is really cool to me, but what are you guys taking on this?
Yeah, it looks like we just took a Jaguar, lopped off the back end, made it a flatbed, and dropped it onto a Dodge frame. Used all the Dodge running gear, beefed up the rear suspension, got coilovers in the rear. We got leaf in the. Looks like we have leaf in the front. I did notice, and I would love to find it and talk to him. It looks like his leaf springs are like angled, like it's almost like a triangulated leaf spring setup. And don't know anything about this suspension style.
That's odd.
They're ran outwards just a little bit, narrow in the front, wide in the rear, and I'm not sure if that helps with tracking, or if anything, or if that's just where they lined up on the frame and that's how he had to do it.
Well,
but
I can tell you right now, if it was me fabricating it, it would have been 3 days after welding it in going, oh, hey, I guess that's crooked now. And then just saying that it's triangulated when people ask me. That's what I would have done.
I'm not sure if triangulated leaf springs are a thing, but it sounds
it sounds cool.
And it sounds pretty legit. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah. And, yeah, we're going to say that it helps with the articulation and better travel.
Yeah, this thing handles way better now.
Oh, yeah. Full hydro steering. It's great. Inside we have, got some gas masks. It looks like we got all the creature comforts from the Jaguar on the interior with quality seats and very plush seating. We got the Queen of England back there. She's, we're driving Miss Daisy here, driving the Queen. Yeah, full comfort on the inside, all your creature comforts. Full wrecker in the back. I think this is the best way to carry a spare, is just suspended in a basket out the rear. We got some, is this just air?
Yeah, these are power tanks. So, you got a power tank. That'll give you the chance to reinflate these massive tires quickly. And, like a lot of things, the power tanks are quintessential for a lot of this. I mean, that's got enough pressure to rebeat a tire. You see a lot of guys carry them because they're just phenomenal, and they have a lot of other accessories that go with it. I don't know why I know so much about power tank all of a sudden, but I also noticed that they have dual fire extinguishers, so the driver and passenger can both run out and helplessly spray whatever is on fire.
Nice.
I'll also note that this D-ring back here, or bow shackle, depending on who you are, is potentially larger than it needs to be for this vehicle. But but hey, you know what? To each his own. It's a wrecker.
Definitely not compensating for anything with his shackle.
Yeah, I mean, he's got this sack hanging off the back, and we're not really talking about that either. So, yeah.
One thing I really like about the suspension on this thing is that it used square tube. Like, so many people use round tube, and the lower links are massive, and you put a little bend in them, so you got that higher clearance towards the frame end, which is great. And he did a shackle reversal on the front, so that's going to soften up the ride a bit.
Oh yeah. All right, well, that was all of the vehicles for the OnX competition. These guys are from Days of Pain and Victory, and every once in a while they take an old vehicle, actually kind of like all the time, they take an old vehicle and just make it run and do something dumb with it. They have done some crazy things. They have some crazy stories to tell, and I won't tell you any of them because you're going to go to their channel right now. You're going to hit subscribe and watch everything they've ever made, and you won't be disappointed. But also, if you're not subscribed to Gone Jeep It, hit subscribe down below right after you have subscribed to Days of Pain and Victory. We are at the SEMA Show 2024, and we will see you at the next show.